You'll be able to FaceTime with 2 people, 3 people.
Oh!
Actually, up to 32 simultaneous participants.
What's good? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything, good and bad inside the world of Apple. If you just found me and said, wait, I thought you worked for... Nope, I'm on my own now, but this is my YouTube channel, so hit that subscribe, click on the bell notification, you're gonna get all the good stuff. All right, at WWDC 2018, there were so many things to talk about. We won't talk about everything, but let's get to it. Now, we told you not to expect any new hardware last week, but deep down inside, you know, you still wanted something, anything. But there was literally nothing. It was a big
no.
So what did I love or like? And you know, there's gonna be some bad apples. Everyone is saying it. It seems like it's not a big deal, but this feature, it's a big deal for me. I know you're already saying it with me. I'm all about the D.
We call it dark mode.
Dark mode. Ew, get your mind out of the gutter. It got the biggest reaction from the developers.
Because Xcode looks fantastic in dark.
And it got the biggest reaction from my live stream. You know, it's one of those subtle things that's gonna make a difference every day. I'm literally living off my computer right now, writing and editing, so this is huge. Which then makes you ask, where is dark mode on the iOS 12? I sometimes think Apple trolls us, knowing that their user base wants a feature and they hold out as long as possible, so then it feels like a bigger deal. You know they're doing this with dark mode for iOS. Case in point, another highlight for me from WWDC, Dolby Atmos for Apple TV 4K. It's finally here. It was announced in September of last year. Apple said it was coming soon, but coming soon to them means it'll come out 9 months later. You know, I'm a huge fan of Dolby Atmos, absolute game changer for your home theater, and if you've experienced, you know why I've been all over Atmos since day one, so thank you. That's a good Apple. I feel like my Apple TV is almost a complete product now. You know, once they start supporting 4K content on YouTube, really, who's holding that up? All right, as you can tell from the beginning of the show, I love the new FaceTime and support for 32 people. That covers about half of a normal size Asian family gathering. Sheesh, do better, Apple. We run deep. I love the new interface and it's gonna be fun to use and actually useful. I get that it supports up to 32 people, most likely for business and education uses, but are we really going to be using it for business when Roberto from the FaceTime team is jumping on the call, coming to work, looking like a koala furry?
Now this is the future.
Oh, that's just horrible. But it leads us right to the new Emojis. I will give them props for one of the most innovative features in avatar history, tongue detection. I like to call it Tong detection because who doesn't want that? In fact, I don't even need a phone for that. Right, baby? Right? Fine, but what about Apple's way better ripoff of Samsung's AR emojis with their Memojis? Remember I told you last week they'd spend way too much time on this, more than any other feature in the keynote. It made me sad that I was actually right, but such is the curse of Nostratongus. It's me, Nostratongus! Well, yes! And I get that it's fun. My buddy Gil loved Memojis. So does my brother Jason. And I will not revoke their man card because in some ways, it takes a real man to admit that he loves Memojis. But Apple spent a whopping 6 minutes and 40 seconds talking about it. That's almost 7 minutes of the keynote. And you know what? That's a bad Apple. And when was the last time you actually used Emojis? If you said just earlier today, it's not for me to judge too harshly. But wait, did I just spend most of the time in this show talking about Emojis and Memojis like Apple did? Crap! I deserve this one. That's a bad Apple. So what else did I love? I think macOS Mojave is gonna be an update that over time people are just gonna really love. There's not too much you can do with the desktop OS to revolutionize it, but all the tweaks they did, I really like. And it's all about the stacks on stacks on stacks. That's something I'll use all the time for my desktop. I love using Quick Look and being able to edit within it. That's money. And the dynamic wallpaper. This reminds me of such like an Apple thing that they would have done in the past. It's a little detail that you'll end up just loving over time. And macOS 10.14, that's a rad Apple.
Yeah!
And you know, Come on, I can't talk about WWDC 2018 without talking about Siri. Siri, without a doubt, got better with shortcuts, but did Siri actually get smarter? I don't think so. Like, they really put the responsibility on the developers to get on board with shortcuts and create these hooks in their app so we can take advantage of it. Now, Samsung already has this with their custom Bixby actions, and it's the result of Apple's acquisition of the real popular app Workflow that, guess what, lets you hook together apps and functions to create automated tasks. They showed an example of someone creating a shortcut for going home, but I don't see myself wanting to use the same routine every day. I'll keep an open mind because maybe I will use this a lot. I just don't know yet. The automation, it's nice and it makes Siri better, but I think a larger list of HomeKit compatibility with smart devices is probably more important. But still, Siri's not fundamentally smarter and it didn't make any leaps over Alexa or the Google Home after this keynote. Apple also did real good with the Apple Watch and watchOS 5. I think I'll definitely use the walkie-talkie feature, but showing a demo of kids talking back and forth, really? Like, what world does Apple live in where kids have an iPhone and an Apple Watch to play walkie-talkie while camping? You know, actually, that's totally inaccurate. In their world, they'd probably be glamping. Now, detecting workouts without you having to set it up is real nice, and being able to talk directly to the watch, you know, when lifting it and not having to say the magic Siri phrase, that's awesome. But it doesn't look like they opened up any of the APIs to help our app developers make dedicated apps. Instead, they have interactive notifications. I think it kind of falls between an app and a notification, so they're testing this out. I think it's actually cool, but we'll see how good it really is. But this really makes the Apple Watch almost even more of a notifications bracelet. One of the dedicated apps I use the most on its own was Outcast for my podcast, but now Apple released their own podcast app to try and squash that. Another thing that stuck out the most to me about iOS 12 is Apple's insistence to continue to say, hey, look at ARKit, we're doing new things, you've got to try it out. Well, they are really pushing it hard, just like changing the physical home button to a solid state one and then going over to like a gesture-based screen, using Apple Pay, talking to virtual assistants, or using Face ID. Apple wants us to get as comfortable with interacting with AR as much as possible. They really want it to be another learned behavior that becomes normal and natural to us. So Apple has outright said, this is the future, because for them, it's the direction that they're taking for that next big thing, whether it's the Apple glasses or whatever it is. Apple wants augmented reality to be very normal to us. But guess what? It still really isn't. I mean, it's cool and fun in bursts, but if their product roadmap relies on AR so much, it makes sense why they're shoving it down our throat. But how often are you using AR right now? And will you be using AR apps a whole lot more in the next 2 or 3 years? I still don't think it's that much. And digital health. I think this is great for families. My nieces and nephews are on their devices way too much, especially Jake, Jaron, and Tyler. I see you, boys. So this is going to be a good tool for actual families, but for adults. I'm a grown man. Yeah, I am. I tell myself that, but I don't need breaking down my usage habits. You're probably going to look at it for the first week out of curiosity and then just move on. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'd love to see your comments and what did you think about WWDC overall? Sure, there's no hardware, but give me a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. What did you like the most? What did you absolutely think was trash? I'll include some of your comments in next week's video. And I also just wanted to say thank you to all of you who came out to watch the WWDC live stream with me. I think we could say it was a success for our very first one. Oh, that's interesting. All right, it was a wild ride for all of you who stuck with it, but for the first time ever, it was so much fun. And then the chat, oh man, the chat is where it is at. So I'm totally doing this on my own, and I'm so grateful. If you can help support this new journey of mine at patreon.com/Brian Tong, just go check it out. All right, until next time, take care, be safe, peace.
Our next release of macOS is macOS Mojave.